I was to start with. I'm on a ranch. I'm on a cattle ranch out in the middle of Montana. I'm not going to school. I'm out of school. I just dream about going to town. I just want to be in town. I don't want to be on the ranch. I want to be in town. I want to be with my friends. I want to be walking up and down the streets and riding in cars and doing all that stuff that we did. Drink beer. And I talked to my mom, and my mom was getting a little burnt out on my, because I would just like bolt. As soon as you open the door, I'm gone, and then you can't get me back. You have to go find me somewhere, and I'm in trouble, and I've wrecked the car, or I did something that, the police are looking for me. Something's happening, and so she's gun shy. And I finally convinced her to take me into, I need to have a social life, right? It always makes sense to a mother. So she takes me in. There's a dance going on, and so I'm going to go to the dance. And I'm all ready to go to the dance. And we go into town, and she's getting pretty smart by now. So, and I'm getting pretty smart too. So she lets me out of the car, and I go into the dance, to where the dance is. But I know that she's not left. I know that she's waiting out there to see if I come out, whether I stay in the dance or not.
She's suspect, yeah.
Oh yeah, she figures it. I'm setting her up for something. She knows I'm setting her up, and I'm not going to, whatever that is. So, but I know that she knows. So I go to the back of the dance place and I sit down where I can be seen from the door. And I sit down. Yeah. 5 minutes later, you see her face, look in the door, gone. And I know she's gone. She looked in, she saw me, I'm in there, she's gone. So I leave. And as I go out the front of the dance, parked by the curb is this beautiful 50 Lincoln Cosmopolitan that I know belongs to Dean and, Dean, Jesus Christ, Carl, Dean and Carl. And they're a couple years older than I am, and they're ranch kids. They're out by us. We know them all. My mom's known them all. And their grandparents gave them. They're always together, these two kids. They're not related, but they're always together. They go to one guy's house, they go to the other guy's house. They've been doing it since they could walk. They're always together. They're a pair. And one of the grandparents gave them this Cosmopolitan. It's like, this is, it's a 50, so it's not very old. It's less than 10 years old. Beautiful car. And they've been working on it. The first thing they did was take it into one of their uncle's garage and get their Whitney catalog out, and get they got the glass packs and they
headers
had all of the stuff you could put on it in those days, which wasn't very much. But they've got this thing all fixed up and shined up, and it's sitting there by the the curb. And they always let it idle because you just wanted to hear those pipes. They just Carl would, and you never knew who was driving because they just exchanged drivers. But Carl would sit there, and this night he was driving, and I came out and they saw me and he pew on the thing, and they waved me over, and I was really impressed because these guys were big deals. They were both big deals. They told me to get in the back seat, get in the car.
They were older.
They're a couple of years older.
Cool,
yeah, they were real cool. And they had the car. They had everything, I wanted to be them. So I get in the car, and they've got, they're glad to see me, and we're talking. And they've got, what we would do is we'd take a quart of 7-Up, and we pour 2/3 of it out. Then we pour in 1/3 of blackberry wine and 1/3 of vodka.
Shake
it up and pass it around. Well, you do that a few times.
Yeah, I miss you.
Yeah, you're pretty, and that's what happened is we're sitting out there and then sitting out there listening to the pipes, talking, drinking this stuff, and they had changed the light bulbs inside of they were I remember they were kind of reddish, amberish. They were really cool. Everything is cool inside of this car, It's like really cool in there. We're drinking and talking, and they're smoking. They got cigarettes rolled up in their hair. Everything's perfect. And the Dupee girls show up. The Dupee girls.
Sisters?
Twins. Okay. Identical twins.
Really?
Yeah. Big Dupee and little Dupee.
Okay.
How do you tell?
I don't know.
You don't? but they're always sitting on top of each other. They're like the guys. They're just together. They're just, everything's. They never leave each other. Right. You couldn't get near one of them without touching the other one. And it's a big Dupee and little Dupee, and they're identical twins. I mean, come on. But they don't go to school because their mother doesn't want them around the guys. She doesn't want any of that breeding going on in her stock. And so they come into the dances once in a while, just whatever. But they're not. And so Carl and Dean, they're all excited. They get the Dupee girls in their car, and everything. And Carl, he's reaching across the back of the seat and he's feeling one of the Dupee's knees. And I'm really getting I'm in heaven here. The Dupee girls, they're a couple years older too, and they're really pretty women, young girls. And this is just everything. We're drinking and smoking and talking to the Dupee girls, and they got all the crinoline dresses going, and I've been thinking I'm going to get lucky. And I'm leaning up against the back door of the car, and when they got me in the car, they asked me, "You want to go to Jackson? You want to go to Jackson? Want to go with us to Jackson?" They're offering to take me with them. Jackson's about 40 miles away, and you can drink there. A big dance hall. Right. Oh yeah, I want to go to Jackson. I wanted to go to Jackson, and I figured I'd ditch the old lady. I could, I won't get in trouble till I get back. That kind of thing. Deferred. Yeah, not a problem. No, I'm not in trouble yet. And so I want to go to Jackson, and so we're all getting ready to go to Jackson, and I think we're going to be taking off for Jackson, but we start drinking, we forget about what time it is, and so that all goes away. We're sitting out there revving the car up, drinking, and the time just, it does when you're drinking. And I was leaning up against the back door, talking to the Dupee girls, thinking that everything was great. And I remember all the lights went on in the car suddenly, and I couldn't understand why all the lights went on. I didn't realize that the door was open behind me, and I wasn't leaning against anything. I just went right up back as the light went on the lights, and I'm going.
What, out the door?
I went out the door and landed
on the curb.
Yeah, on the parking lot, in the grass on the parking lot. I'm out on the grass. The door's open. I'm on the grass, and I'm going out. I can see the Dupee girls going out the other side. The other door's open. They're disappearing. I'm going out, and Carl or Dean says, "It's his mother. Get out of here." And
his mother meaning your mother?
I guess meaning my mother. I don't know what it meant at the time. I just know I was going out on the parking lot, and somebody was kicking me. And the car takes off. The door slams shut when it leaves, and those pipes. And there's right across the intersection. There's two-story brick buildings, so it's like a brick canyon that goes up the street. And that car, when it goes in between those,
you hear that?
Oh, the pipes are just perfect.
So who's on the street right now? The Dupee girls?
They disappeared. They disappeared.
But they went out.
They
well.
left the car. Okay. Yeah, they just disappeared out of there. I saw them heading out of the car. I go out the other side. The car takes off, and those blue dot tail lights and those pipes. Sure. I'm laying on the ground, and I can see and I'm just focused on that. Just listening to that sound is so beautiful. And around the corner, it's gone. And then I realized that somebody's kicking me and screaming at me, and it was my mom. And so I'm upset because I wanted to go to Jackson. I managed to get around, and I'm real drunk, and I get up to my knees, which is sometimes takes some time when you've been drinking a little bit. And it takes me a while to get to my knees, and I get to my knees. And my mom was, if you told her a joke, if you were in trouble and if you told her a joke, you'd cut your sentence in about half.
Right.
Just if you could get her, if you could get in there with anything like that. And so I just, I'm on my knees and I go, Gertie, 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 my best, my best, Cary Grant. And she slapped my face, knocked me down. And I made it back up to my knees, and I was mad. You're not going to do that to me. Treat me like that. And I told her off, and she slapped my face again. And I figured, well, I probably better get in the car. You know? And
this is humiliating. Yeah.
And plus, all the kids from the dance are all outside now watching. My mother just kicked the shit out of me.
This is not good.
And the parking lot or the parking strip, the car's gone. And I make it over to the car. She was driving this Cadillac. And the Cadillac, you know, almost every kid knows that there's a place in the front seat where you can get where the driver can't reach you.
Right.
He can't hit me over here, you know.
Right.
You know, so you know where that is. And I get into that quarter, and we're going home, and I'm telling her everything that she ever did wrong in raising me. You know, and it's amazing I turned out as well as I have, you know, that sort of thing. And I don't have any social life. I don't have a girlfriend. It's her fault.
Poor
I'm flunking out of school. It's her fault. I'm trying. They could never get another person to work for them for the wages I get, which is nothing. I'm a top hand. You know, I go on and on with this stuff as we're driving out through the Montana night. She doesn't say a word. And I get done, and then I vomit in the glove compartment and pass out, you know.
That's the way. It's a good night.
Yeah, and so I come to the next morning. I don't remember anything after that. I don't hardly remember any of that. Just the bad parts you remember. Like, what? You know, like, oh, God. And we get home, and Oki's a guy that she brought home. She'd bring home dogs, people, you know. Somebody was mistreating him, so she brought him home. He's a couple years older than I am. Okay, and Oki doesn't go to town. Oki's a little bit worried about life, I think, and he's in a good spot, and so he wants to stay there. So he stays out on the ranch, and we get home, and she opens the door. I'm out on the ground. Apparently, he tells me the story. He comes out and gets me. He says, "Boy," he says, I never knew your mother could swear like that." Yeah. Well, she's kicking me and swearing, you know, and Oki, I mean, come on, man. You know, you think that's cool? No, that was me on the ground. Oh, she he'd smile. He loved my mom. He just followed her around, you know. She just was his surrogate mother. And my dad and I didn't like it much because he would do things for her that we wouldn't do and made us look bad. So
you're home.
So I'm home.
You go to bed.
I puked in the bunk. I pissed my pants. I'm laying on the concrete. You drag yourself out in the next morning to the horse trough, and you just kind of get rid of your clothes, and you drink as much water and puke as much water as you can. And I knew I couldn't go in the house because Gertrude would still be mad. So I just took off and went out onto the field and started working with the tractor. And Oki brought me out something to eat and that sort of thing. And I knew I'd be okay out there. So I'm out there working, and the road grader comes in, the county road grader, Charlie, comes in on his road grader. And Charlie loved my mom too because he would come and get stuff to eat. And Charlie got off the road grader, and she wasn't there. And I was there, and he said, there was a wreck outside of town, half an hour outside of town last night. There was a wreck last night, half an hour outside of town. Carl Hecla's dead, and Dean South is not expected, on the Jackson Road, half an hour out of town.
On the Jackson Road.
On the Jackson Road. They were going to Jackson. That's where we were headed. And Carl Hecla's dead, and Dean South is not expected to live. And he got back on he said, tell Gertrude. Tell Gertrude. And he left.
Mercy.
Yeah.
It sobered you up real quick, didn't it?
Well, you know, God, I don't know what the effect of that stuff is. I mean, you don't know whether you should be dead or not dead, or whether they're dead.
Yeah.
And my mom, one of the things that I did with my mom that I should have never done, but she had so many people die in her life that when you were close, if you did something really wrong, if you just like acted like you were almost dead or almost had been really close but you weren't, your sentence was reduced. You could just see she first saw you. Her first reaction would be something really terrible happened. And as soon as you got the idea across first that it could have, but it didn't, then everything was a little bit better. She would relax. You could see her whole body relax. You're not dead. That is so good. And I just put the car in the river. The family car just disappeared, but you're not dead. And